Hanzo Hasashi is the very original Scorpion of Mortal Kombat. What if I told you the game Mortal Kombat 1 is the very first Mortal Kombat game for some players though? It's true, and these fellow fighters survive in this audience. A new mantle for Hanzo Hasashi to adopt is possible to hatch. However, it's very possible we see this young Hanzo return to the Hellfire mantle we know him for best, and that is as Scorpion. I'm Scotty Combat, and today we're going to dive into the fire and mystery of Hanzo Hasashi's future in Mortal Kombat. Currently, Scorpion exists as Kuai Liang, who was formerly best known as Sub-Zero for decades of Mortal Kombat. Whether your bloody heart has been in combat for years, or you're new to the realms, the following names have been synonymous with their mantles for years, and they are Bi-Han as the first Sub-Zero, Kuai Liang as the next Sub-Zero, Bi-Han becoming Noob Saibot, and Hanzo Hasashi as Scorpion. These names and mantles have been the formula longer than many new fans' existence. Things really took a spin when Liu Kang did a soft reboot on the realms. Look at it like this: Liu Kang bought a new computer. He didn't change brands or necessarily upgrade the operating system. He kinda just opened a new web browser and personalized some of the appearance settings. In this case, you know how most of this works, there's just a few changes. And perhaps this is a bad analogy. I hope you get my drift though. It's important that I share this. This story isn't finished, and it's unfair for me to assume too far ahead, but I do see some interesting details that are worth looking at and sharing. Hanzo Hasashi was only absent during the time of the original Mortal Kombat 3, and that's just because no Scorpion existed at this time. So, aside from that, for every single Mortal Kombat game, even including Mortal Kombat 1, we have seen Hanzo Hasashi as Scorpion, or at least a version of Scorpion. Now with Mortal Kombat 1, Kuai Liang is Scorpion for the first time ever, and maybe this is the way it's meant to be now, despite many old school mains and fans of Scorpion and Sub-Zero's preference. The only character to have a significant change so far between these characters is Bi-Han, and that would be his means of going from Sub-Zero to Noob Saibot. That in itself isn't unusual because the past isn't the same in how he becomes Noob Saibot, so that much isn't surprising. Rather, what was different in this instance was that it was because of Havoc. So far in Mortal Kombat 1, Bi-Han kind of remains the same as far as history repeats itself. Bi-Han is Sub-Zero, something different happens, and he becomes Noob Saibot. The question is whether Kuai Liang and Hanzo are going to follow this path in finding their original mantles, or becoming different characters, or remaining the same. So, where does that leave us now? Well, the next thing to happen that appears different, but actually remains the same in Mortal Kombat lore, is Kuai Liang getting a scar over his eye. Except this time, he's just known as Scorpion when it happens. Also, if you haven't seen it yet, I highly recommend checking out my video covering Sub-Zero, a little bit on Kuai Liang in there, and who the mantle of Sub-Zero should go to next. Video linked in the description and at the end screen. There are options available for who Hanzo will become. Whether he will become a new Scorpion, a different mantle, or a new character in general. He could even simply just become Hanzo. Another consistent detail is that Hanzo is in the clan of the Shirai Ryu, and this holds true whether this is old school or Mortal Kombat 1. Smoke finds Hanzo outside of Harumi's home for the first time, believing him to be Lin Kuei, but apparently too aggressive and not apparent enough for Smoke to hold this assertion. So Smoke takes him into the clan with Kuai Liang, and his training begins. However, Smoke sees himself in Hanzo's training. Young Hanzo Hasashi is fierce. However, something important I want to point out is Hanzo's hair being gray here. I think this is simply because Smoke has gray hair and Smoke is imagining himself when he shares this memory. I don't actually think in this particular moment that this is Hanzo we're seeing. Rather, besides the first encounter we see Hanzo with Smoke outside of Harumi's home, I think he may be visible in Kuai Liang's ending at the standoff between the Shirai Ryu and the Lin Kuei. The first member in line to brace themselves against the Lin Kuei is a boy. And while the Shirai Ryu recruit other young fighters, it seems this line of warriors are significant. This would be Hanzo Hasashi, Smoke, Harumi, and Kuai Liang. I point this out because this may be a better reflection of Hanzo Hasashi's character in Mortal Kombat 1 versus Smoke's vision, although we're still up to speculation. Kuai Liang as Scorpion does carry a more level-headed demeanor than most of Hanzo Hasashi's past presentations. That's not to diminish Kuai Liang as Scorpion, but strong personality traits from the character that are missing in the original Scorpion, such as intense anger, vengeance, and for the most part working alone. These traits are already on display and resembled in the young Hanzo. These similarities could be written on the wall for Hanzo becoming Scorpion, or simply an interesting juxtaposition having a new Hanzo Hasashi working with a Kuai Liang Scorpion. And that is assuming Kuai Liang remains Scorpion. There are many theories one can put into the fire, but the obvious ones I'll share is Hanzo growing into Scorpion regardless of a Titan Hanzo having already made an appearance. It's hard to imagine Hanzo Hasashi as someone else. Then again, it was already a tough sell to give us Kuai Liang as Scorpion. Now this one's going to be more far-fetched, but hear me out, it's only a possibility. Tomas, also known as Smoke, could be cyberized. Hanzo could fulfill the shoes of his mentor and somehow take up new powers. He could become an Enra himself. He could become the new Smoke. Or in general, he could just become a new character after taking over for Smoke. Remember, the closest connections Hanzo has right now is Harumi and Tomas. So anything regarding Tomas and Harumi right now, I would say are on the table. I know I compare Kuai Liang often here, but Kuai Liang bears the scar and could become Sub-Zero somehow, with Hanzo becoming Scorpion, and this would return these characters to their original mantles. Of course, this is theory, and who's to say Hanzo will stay in line with the Shirai Ryu? We've done some speculation on Hanzo being himself or taking other mantles. Now let's consider Liu Kang did the best he could with all of his attempts in restarting everything. Most things are either similar or just happen anyway regardless of his efforts. Instead of Hanzo losing his wife Harumi to someone sinister, now instead he's a boy, an angry one that is an orphan and has to steal to get by. This is the best Liu Kang could give him. I think that says a lot with the odds not being in his favor, at least for now. But that could change, because this time, the Shirai Ryu raising him with the heroes we have now could be one of the best changes Liu Kang did for Hanzo Hasashi's well-being. This may not be exciting to players who want to see Scorpion full of hellfire, but it could be exciting to players who love Scorpion and want to see him get a break from the anguish. I can see this going either way. That is, we already have seen Hanzo Hasashi in Mortal Kombat 1, both as what we have here as a Titan, and both as a kid too. Of course, much of this is just speculation, but for me, it's fun to think about and see other people's theories. But this one is Scorpion's video, this is Hanzo Hasashi's video, and I want to know what you guys think of it. I still think it's very possible we'll see Hanzo Hasashi turn into Scorpion in this new timeline, because it's just that hard to pull Hanzo Hasashi away from Scorpion. Maybe they will, but right now I'm still betting on him becoming Scorpion. Please do like and subscribe for more Mortal Kombat content. I'm Scotty Combat, and I will see you live and or in the next video. Much love everyone, and take care.